barely being able to have enough players to make a varsity team to now one of the top teams in the state.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
I think it's a contest of the girls, the athletes. I think you probably interviewed anybody who interviews that kind of has a weird what am I moment. Who am I going to be? What does my career look like? Softball is a game of failure, but like you got to respect it for what it is. Like
For sure.
It's so fun, and baseball and softball are the same in that aspect of they're a game of failure, and you have to treat it with that respect.
How do you, year after year, show up to tryouts and show up trying to bring people in, knowing it has those connotations, knowing we had a bad rap for not being consistent? How do you kind of keep showing up and trying to prove yourself? How do you not give up? All right, everyone, welcome back to the Next Gen podcast. Today, another special guest. Today, we have someone very close to my heart, someone very close to my own kind of start to my career in sports, but not on the broadcast side, the athletic side. We talked about it a little bit, my failed softball career, and today we have in my old coach, Stevie Gibson, here to talk about her life as a college athlete, a high school coach, from just being an assistant on the side when she was still finishing up school to being thrown into the full-time position and now in the athletic administrative role as well. So Stevie, how is it going? Thanks for coming in.
Yes, Alex, thank you. It's great. Life is good.
Yeah, I mean, It seems good. Like we talked about earlier, the Blue Valley North softball team being in the top 10 in Kansas is something I don't think either of us expected.
2 days ago, it came out that we are top 10, which is crazy.
Which, I think...
It's wonderful. I expected it, but I don't know if anybody else did.
I didn't.
Yeah, right, and that's okay.
That's from my experience. Yes. Just for, reference, I think my 4 years there, we probably played around 70-ish games, right? 20...
Right, probably.
COVID, so it takes out a couple, but,
18,
20-ish a season, so 80 would be the average. I think we won maybe 6.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like that's very valid.
My seniors, I have now won one game their freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what caused the turnaround? What the heck happened from the fields that didn't drain and not having girls show up, show up with the wrong uniforms, barely being able to have enough players to make a varsity team to now one of the top teams in the state?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
I think it's a contest of the girls. I joined the school full time 3 years ago. I think we talked about that a little bit earlier, that has been a huge display of me just being in the school, being able to be a face to put to the program. I think dedication, that's my 10th year here at Blue Valley North. So
that makes you feel
Mustangs,
real old.
Yes.
I mean, it makes me feel old.
Yes, every time people can't believe that I've been there 10 years. But from start to finish, it's...
So how'd you get your start? Let's go back in time. I always like to do this with anyone I have on the show, no matter how long they've been working on their career.
Right.
Obviously, you've had a lifelong love of softball that hasn't dimmed. How did you get into the sport when you were playing?
I didn't start playing till I was 4th or 5th grade. My parents didn't believe in slow pitch or coach pitch or T-ball or anything, so I begged and begged and begged, and I think I was 8 years old playing a 10U team, and I was like, please let me play, please let me play. So they finally got me into it, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Right. And then you ended up playing in college for a while, right?
I played all 4 years of my college career. I played 2 years at Neosho County Community College. Go Panthers. And then I finished my last 2 years at Avila University.
What made you switch teams halfway through your career?
So junior college life, you get 2 years. That's it. I had decided not to play. I was done. I was enrolled at Pitt State, changed my major, everything. I had a very close dear friend of mine commit suicide, who I played against and played with all summer, and she could no longer play. So I decided, why not?
Her.
Yeah. So it was August of 2012. Yeah. August of 2012. I decided Avila has a new coach. I need a new program. I emailed Rob Wade. If you know anybody in the softball world, he's a big deal.
Yeah.
I emailed him. I said, hey, I have 2 years eligibility left. Let me come down. So I met with him. The next week, I moved in 2 days later.
Perfect.
So
when you graduated college, and like, did you ever think that was the end of your college career or your softball career? Did you think softball's over for me?
I think I was done.
Yeah.
I think it was a good point. I thought I was like, I did 4 years of college ball. Some of the athletes, I think you probably interviewed, anybody who interviews kind of has a weird, what am I moment? Who am I going to be? What does my career look like? Do I continue to go to school? Who's telling me where to go and who's telling me what to do? So you have a little bit of a lull, but I did think I was done.
Yeah.
And then I randomly applied for a job at Blue Valley North a year later, and the rest is.
What made you like seek out those coaching opportunities?
I had thought about coaching. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was currently in school. I was getting my master's degree. Then, and I thought, well, why not have an income, a little bit more income? I was working a little job that wasn't, fulfilling me. And I got interviewed. I met Marissa Carroll, who is a wonderful dear friend of mine still to this day. She was Engle back then, but I was her assistant for 2 years.
Right. What does it take to, from just an athlete point of view, never having that coaching experience, what switches did you have to make to be like, okay, now I'm not on the field? What were you looking at then?
I think I still learn that every day. I think it is difficult, especially coming right out of playing yourself. Like, I am 22 years old, 23 years old at this point. I am in charge of girls who are 5 years younger than me, who I was a JV then. So it's a whole different aspect of a level that I hadn't played for a very long time. But it kind of makes you love the sport more. I tell people that all the time. I said, everybody should be a JV coach for people who have never played before, because it makes you realize how much you love the sport itself, and you want to like respect the sport. And I'm sure I said that when I coached you, like you should respect softball. Like, softball is a game of failure, but like you got to respect it for what it is. Like,
for sure,
it's so fun. And baseball and softball are the same in that aspect of they're a game of failure, and you have to treat it with that respect. That
I think right now, especially in the MLB, that is not the story being told.
Nope.
I think the new torpedo bats really threw everyone off.
Absolutely.
And because
like softball, we've been dealing with this for
yeah. But it's really interesting to see, like, some people are opposed to it, some people like it, and it's, to me, I'm like, it's just the sport evolving. It's just like when we figured out, hey, we can't use steroids. Like,
probably not great, but here we are.
No, it makes things unfair, and you gotta switch up the rules to make it fair. So you were an assistant coach for how long before you made your official switch?
So I was an assistant coach for 2 years, and then the head coach then had decided to move on and do different things. And I applied for the job.
Right.
I did not get the head coaching job.
I didn't know you even applied.
Yes.
I thought you were happy being the assistant.
No, I did apply because I was the only, like, we were going to have 2 new assistants that year. Our other assistant had a baby the year before. So she had decided, and I was like, you know what, to keep, like, from what I had heard about the program, it had no consistency.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try. I have no idea what I was doing. I was a JV coach, varsity assistant for half a year, like, no idea. But you know what? I might as well try.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, which I was bummed about, but it's God's plan, whatever. And so they gave it to somebody else. A year.
Stuck around.
Yeah, I stuck around. I got offered the varsity assistant. She wanted to keep some consistency. She saw that need as well. The seniors that year were very near and dear to my heart. We just
rolled with it.
Yeah, I just rolled with it. And then that spring, after I didn't make
really
it,
fun.
or I didn't get the job, I ended up getting the job halfway through.
Right. So when they ended up coming to you and saying, like, look, we had this coach, didn't work out.
Yeah.
You are here. You are consistent. The girls already know you.
Yeah.
We need you to step up.
Yeah.
What did that, mean to you?
It was I mean, it obviously made me feel good. It made me feel like they had a trust in me, that
Right.
they made me nervous as heck. We played Aquinas the next day.
Oh, I remember. I
Yes,
was
yes,
there.
yes. We
It was fun.
played Aquinas and we ended up beating them. Like we split with them. It was 1-1.
See, I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
It was I remember because I had one practice with you guys as a head coach,
Mhm.
and then the next day we played Aquinas, and Chris Orrell was their head coach then. She emailed Mickey Masterson, who was the AD at Blue Valley North
Yep.
at the time. She emailed him the next day with a positive reminder of me and how the girls played so well coached and things like that for
Right.
having dealt with the trials that we did the week
Right.
that we had. Yes.
We had a week.
We had a week. Yes.
I
think.
remember like getting ready with practices
Yes.
and everything, like with our previous coach being like, okay, this is how we're going to go into this
Yep.
week. This is what everything's going to happen. And then it went from all in a week time period of we have a coach who's ready.
Yeah.
We don't really know what's going on in her head, but like
Right.
she at least has a plan.
Yeah.
To I remember being pulled in by Mr. Masterson.
Yep.
Just a couple of us being like, so we don't have a coach for you guys right now.
Yeah.
We don't know what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
But the school is gonna support you. We're gonna figure out a way to do it.
Right.
And I remember him saying, like, I'll be at your games. Stevie's still gonna be around. And we're talking to you, and you're like, I don't know what's going on, but
here we are.
Here.
Yeah.
You know,
I am here for you
living
guys.
it.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think that made all the difference.
Yeah.
How do you think you talked about consistency, you think being a big thing? I mean, again, I know from my experience, 10 years ago, we would have never expected North softball to be as successful as it is.
Yeah.
When, as a coach, you can't come in and instantly say, here's all my changes, here's what this program needs. You have to build up that trust and respect. How do you think over time, having that consistency has made changes? What changes have you been able to make in the program?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like I said before, a trust thing. The girls, they know I'm going to show up. They know I'm going to be there. They know my assistants are going to be there.
Right.
They know that I'm here for them. Like I say, like you said, I don't know anything. All I know is that I'm going to be there. And that's kind of been my constant thing for the last 10 years is like, whatever happens, but I know that I'm going to be there.
Right.
Like I'll be there for you guys. You'll be there for me. Like we'll make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the consistency has been a huge development of Blue Valley North softball.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to do a lot of things. I've done the staff appreciation for the last 3 years. The girls go and give a t-shirt and just showing a little bit more of like community versus I think in the past there has been no softball community.
I agree.
I've heard things from people like years before you were there or years before I was there that it was just kind of a negative connotation. Like softball was nothing. Like nobody wanted to play. And we had some good players. Like Allie McFarland was there. Like she holds basically all our records still, which most of them are hoping to be broken soon. Yes. But yeah, it's just a consistency of coaches and consistency of the girls showing up every year is really, I think, the definition of what we've made the program community wise.
How do you, year after year show up to tryouts and show up trying to bring people in, knowing it has those connotations, knowing we had a bad rap for not being consistent, not bringing in players, not winning games, not being organized? How do you kind of keep showing up and trying to prove yourself? How do you not give up?
Yeah. I tell the girls constantly for every single day for all year, basically, now that I see them every day being in my role at the school, but that I have an total irrational thought in their brain or in my brain about how everything or what they can do. I believe in them 110%. I'm like, if they never believe in themselves, like there is that I am behind them 100%. And I hope that that's what they feel every time that they show up. And I try to get as many people as possible. Like we've had some girls who have never played before, but they didn't really have a place. Like if you don't have a place, like softball might be your place.
Right.
Varsity softball might not be. Like now that we're competitive, we're getting it. We're, making plays, doing things that we need to do. But softball might be like we have nice girls.
Right.
There's no drama from my understanding. Like it's fun.
How do you, when you're making those cuts and trying to figure out who's a varsity player. Obviously, like, let's set skill aside.
Yeah.
Because you can tell who's going to be a college athlete and who has the physical skill to do it. But how do you, when you have those kind of on the wire, because that's how I was freshman year, was, that was a whole other like weird of, well, you were told varsity, but you can do both, but we don't, the paperwork didn't line up.
What is your expectation? Yeah.
Right. What makes you believe in a player enough that even if they don't have the skills, you'll put them on varsity or tell them that they need to keep working on it? How do you kind of make the justification of who makes what team?
I think it's kind of understanding your role. I know there's a lot of girls, like even this year we have 20 girls. So I have a solid 9 that, like, I have 3 pitchers who play in the infield, and they're 3 of my best infielders.
Right.
Like, so if they're not pitching, they're playing an infield position. And I have a couple swing players that, I had that conversation with them that we don't have very many, but I need you to get reps at JV. And I think girls at other schools or even at North, sometimes they feel like, well, I want to be on varsity. I want to be on varsity. I'm like, right. I don't want to waste you on varsity. Like, I have a hard time doing that, where I want you to get the reps. Like, if you are a freshman and a sophomore, you need those reps. Like, all reps are good reps. Like, you get in games, you get live pitching, you need to be in there and get game-like situations. So I've had some tough conversations in the past. People were upset or not upset. But I just think that having those open conversations, that's why I still do meetings.
Yeah.
That's why I still have a conversation with all the girls, as a whole or individually, however I need to, versus I know some programs just post it, which is great. Do what you got to do. I'm still so believing in this program and this community that I'm building that I want them to trust the fact of, this is what I say, this is what I want you to do.
Right.
Moving forward. So,
do you try to keep it as one big unit and program, or do you kind of divide it up and say, these are my varsity girls, they're going to get not a better, but a different level of attention than the JV girls are, and kind of treat them as such? Or do you like to keep it all one?
I like to keep it all one. This year has been my first year. So 4 years ago, we didn't have a JV.
Right.
There's 2 years that we didn't. And so the last 3 years, I've really been kind of building up that JV and getting to where we need to be all together. We need to build that. Like, we are all one team.
Yeah.
I say that all the time, that we do team dinners together, which I think we're the only sport in the world that does 30 girls at a house, right?
It's so much fun, though.
Yes. Like, I want it to be that way. I want them to know that they're still a part of BVN softball, regardless of what team they're on. This year's been a little bit different. I've taken a lot of my I say my varsity as like my girls that I take full time with me. I've got a lot of reps with them individually, which has been nice to kind of, we have a little bit of a quicker practice. So,
yeah, for sure. Do you think, as a previous, like, you went through the whole college process, do you aid them in any way with their potential recruitment process, or do you leave that up more so to the clubs?
I think that the recruitment process has changed so much since, I went to college 15 years ago.
Right.
So, it has changed tremendously, and I think it's for the better. I don't think it's negative or positive necessarily, but I think it is a little bit for the better. Yeah, it's just different. I will give them any type of reference. I will give them any type of stat that they needed from their high school career. But I don't aid much. That people reach out to me, but not necessarily college coaches. I do more of like the Keisha things or the sports and kids, like all of those that want to do like a year in a review or things like that. But I don't do much of the recruitment, which is good.
Right.
I talk to them about how college life is going to be, because I don't believe that's changed. I think a college coach, you still got to have good grades, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
The school may love you, and that college program may love you. You still got to get into that school, right? We got to show up to class. I do a lot of preparation for them, and I make them wear a certain practice shirt every day. Like,
that's new.
Yeah, that's new. Yeah. So we have 5 different shirts. They have a practice attire. Varsity wears one thing, JV wears another. Fridays, they all wear one together. Yeah. So, and they are required to dress up for games. That's
Mhm.
never changed. Because I want you to be able to follow through with something.
Right.
Like I always say, I'm like, you look good, you feel good, you play better, right? But it really comes down to just being, are you prepared?
Mhm.
Like, did you do everything that you need to do to get to where you're going, right? Like, did you show up on time? Did you make sure you wore the right shoes? It's simple like that, because when you get to college, oh, bless you, that matters.
Yeah, it does.
Right? Like, I can't tell you how many times that I was in college thinking, where is my purple sock? Like,
Mhm.
I need those purple socks, because we had to wear a full uniform.
Right.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Versus I'm like, I'm just making sure you got the right shirt on.
Mhm.
So
It's a
starting
small step
Yeah.
to teach them
So
the
I hope I
right.
help them in that aspect.
Yeah.
That's what I would think, that I help them prepare for the little things, or showing up for weights.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to be there at 5:45 for
No
weights.
one showed up for weights for us. So that's a change on its own.
No, yes, no, they still don't. But like,
Right.
it is one thing that's what you're gonna have to do if you
Yeah.
become a college athlete. Like,
Mhm.
there's no, that's 100% happening.
How do
have to be
you
there.
discipline your team when needed? I know in coaching that's a very like gray line, it's
Yeah.
a fine line to toe of what is discipline that's going to help them and what is discipline that's just making them run because I had a bad day.
Right. I don't like to I don't like to run for just
Right.
to be, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think of it as a negative thing. I actually don't, knock on wood, I don't have to discipline them much. Yeah, I think, again, with the trust that we've developed, I still don't allow them to curse. That's still never been a thing. They don't say anything out of pocket.
Right.
Yeah, we can joke around and we can joke around and mess around and have fun as long as we're staying focused.
Right.
And that's when that's when I think I have to discipline them the most, is with.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier about comparing to baseball, comparing to other programs at the high school that might have a little bit more administrative support, might have a little bit more financial support.
Right.
How have you kind of tried to build up the softball program to also deserve that support that's given?
Yeah, I think with, we described earlier, my teacher appreciation, every teacher, every player selects a teacher to give them a shirt.
Right.
And they write a little handwritten note and they go and give it to them and they invite them to our first game.
Right.
So it develops more of a community. And I think we've had more people at our games the last 2 years than I think I've ever seen.
Right.
Ever.
What are crowds looking like right now?
We like sell tickets for games. Like, now we're a real, like I say real varsity sport. But it's fun. Like, we play our home games at a beautiful stadium that we have at Norris. Shout out to Blue Valley School District
for that.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, we have lights. But even like a couple days ago, a couple parents have decided to set up a booster club, which is fantastic for us. I'm excited for that. I think it all comes down to just like buying into the program, like just buying into what we're doing. Yeah. And getting involved and seeing what we got. We have a big following on Twitter or X, whatever it's called.
I know. It's
I'm like, I don't know what
weird.
it's called now, but we have a pretty big following. Our Instagram's pretty big. Like, I'm trying to involve as many people.
Do you have girls now coming in as freshmen that are excited to join the program? Because that's something I remember being a freshman and being one of, I think, three that were like, we're showing up,
playing softball,
we're ready. And everyone was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you have people now that are coming to you like, yeah, we know what this program's about. We're ready for it.
Yeah, I do. Like, we do all the 8th grade visits. We have a summer camp now, which I need to get that flyer out this week. But so I have 2 freshmen who start on my varsity now, who I've seen them for 3 years now. Like, we've done our camps for, I think this is our 4th year. Like, I've seen them consistently. And like, even I have a couple juniors who I've seen consistently. Then I'm like, how fun is it to see them as little 6th graders now be so excited to join?
Right.
And I even have there's a couple 5th graders who are just all about softball. And every year they're like, you have to be the coach when I'm there. You have to be. And I'm like,
that's a long time away.
That's a long time. Yeah. I'm like, you guys, I'm old, like, which I plan to, that's my plan. But so it's been fun to see, like, you see them year after year at a camp, and then they finally are
They're
there
yours.
producing.
Yeah.
Like especially these 2 freshmen I have now and the 2 juniors that I have, and some sophomores too that I've seen consistently, but they were so excited about being a part of Blue Valley North softball.
Which is like for my
Yes,
high school times
absolutely,
unheard
right.
of.
Yes.
We were begging people to
Yes.
join.
We were trying and trying and trying to get. I mean, what was the year that we had 5 girls who didn't go out? What, 4 or 5 that didn't go out for soccer? Who said, "You know what? I'm going to play
Oh,
softball,"
yeah.
and that was like the biggest thing that we
Mhm.
could do, right?
Yeah, I think that was like maybe my junior year.
Maybe,
I don't know,
It
but
was, but it has come a long way. Our
It
community
has.
is really growing, and again, I can only attest that to the people who buy into it.
right.
Like,
Well, I mean, you're one of those, and like you've
right.
shown up consistently,
Yes,
like we've
yeah.
said for 10 years. And then you even made it more of your full-time thing. Cause like when I was there,
Yep.
it was just you were coming after your other job. You
Yeah.
still loved us just as much, but had
Yeah.
to work it into your schedule. And now it is your whole schedule.
Yeah.
How did you get the opportunity to move from just a coach to being in the front office
Yeah.
and helping out every athlete in the community?
The girl who is in my role now was looking to retire, and I had been a little bit unhappy. I did hair for, 10 years of my life. Yeah, I was a little bit unhappy doing hair and being in the salon. So I thought, why not? Let's try.
Mhm.
I applied, got the job, and I have not looked back.
Right.
Yeah, it's been being a part of the athletic world at Blue Valley North, I'm sure in Blue Valley they're all wonderful, but
Right.
specifically working for the athletic director that we have now, Kelly
Mhm.
Curley, and our administration it's top notch.
Right.
It's unbeatable.
What-
Working for a woman specifically in sports is.
I was going to touch on that. We talked about it a little bit earlier,
Yes.
but what kind of almost not backlash, but things that you receive that you think, why are you treating me this way? Like,
Yeah.
where's the stigma coming from? What do you kind of have to deal with being it's just the two of you in the department, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or at the top.
She's the athletic director and I'm the administrative
Mhm.
assistant to athletics.
So being two women, being in charge of, all the athletics and everything, what kind of pushback do you guys ever get any from other administrations or I guess just things you wouldn't expect?
I think, other administrations in the Blue Valley district, I think they know who we are. They definitely know who Kelly is. They're learning me, I
Right.
guess. Yeah. Softball, they understand. But it's funny to hear people like they'll say Mr. Steve or
Mhm.
Mr. Curley. They'll automatically assume that we can't be female
Right.
if we're in the roles that we're in. I even get that in softball. There's no way
Which shocks
a young
me.
girl can be the head coach of a softball team.
Yeah, it's like, I lived it, I did it, so I'm probably
Right.
actually better suited than
Yes.
someone's dad to do this.
Right. Daddy ball is long gone.
Mhm.
We are, done with that, which I grew up with all male coaches and I'm
Yeah.
not mad about it either, but I'm also, there's some things I don't want to be like.
Right.
And
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's really, as a girl on the team, you have that connection with your coach.
Yeah.
And if it is a woman, I think personally, like again, like I never had any other women coaches besides for you.
Right.
But you are able to have that like friendship and
Right.
almost like cool older sister vibes that I
Yeah.
feel like you just don't get with someone's dad,
Right.
So I think that's a big change that obviously you guys can be coaches. Mr. Schaefer, I think, is the best example.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is great. But I joke with them a lot that I'm like, I don't have children of my own, but I do, like, I develop 20 of them every single year. Like,
Right.
there's still those that still stay in contact with me. There's a couple that I'm like, I might have birthed you later on, like earlier in life, like something, like a past life or something. They're just
something just collect in your mind, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
So.
In that administrative role, what other things do you get to do outside of the softball world?
Yeah. So I handle all like physicals that come in. I handle all like putting games on schedules. Obviously, I don't make everybody's schedule, but for the most part, we make sure that everything's good. Officials, schedule games with workers, things like that. So I've gotten a lot, which Blue Valley developed Daktronic boards in their gyms. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but so we have the fun interactive board. I get to put stuff on there.
Fun.
It's just all things sports.
So I've seen you at basketball games. I've seen you at football games. What are you doing there? You're just, I always am like, what is she here for?
Yeah, basketball, I'm probably doing something on the deck board.
Okay.
Doing the clock.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously like sports. I live sports.
Right.
It doesn't matter really what sport it is.
Mhm.
I'm learning the others that I didn't know much about. I don't know much about swimming.
No, me neither.
They swim long distance or short distance. I don't know.
They want to be fast.
Yes, right. They go really fast that I could never. Tennis, same way. They hit the
Mhm.
ball back and forth, which is great. Very good. Yeah, so I'm learning those sports, but I love wrestling. I love basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, I love football. I helped wrestling last year. I was a girls wrestling coach.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I helped out. This last football season, I was helper of football.
Yeah, whatever they needed.
Yeah, whatever they needed. Yeah,
Mhm.
we had a new head coach, and he's wonderful, and I just helped
Love
out
it.
wherever needed.
Well, where do you see this job taking you? Is being Coach Stevie and Administrative Stevie like the end game to make you happy? We've been through career changes. What do you think is like your thing that is going to make you happy?
Yeah, I am currently in school to get my like K through 12 counseling degree. It's something I've always kind of thought about. So I'm really excited about that. Maybe administration later on in life. I don't know. But I don't think that it'll just stop at Coach Stevie.
Right.
I think I've officially, I say this a lot to my friends and my family that I think I finally found my thing.
Right.
I mean, as a 30 plus woman, I
All
think,
right.
yeah, like I tell my players all the time, you don't have to have everything figured out.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing hair and I love being a part of that world, but I just don't think it didn't fulfill me as much as I wanted it to.
Right.
And every bit, I never go to work that I never go into work thinking I do not want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I never decide that I don't want to go to a sports game. Like I never decide that I don't want to be there. Like every once in a while, you're like, okay, I'm tired.
I'm burnt out.
Season gets long. Yes, like season is always long. There's a couple days where you're just like, okay, I'm going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're there, it's never a problem.
No.
Yeah.
Walk me through. I meant to ask about this earlier and we got distracted, but your game day as a coach. Because I know as a player, very different, especially when I was there and we didn't take everything as seriously. But what do you do to prepare yourself for, whatever team you're playing that week?
Well, I mean, I watch a lot of film. I watch every Game Changer has made things so much easier these days.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of film. I look at it. I do our lineups early as I can, so I don't have to worry about it unless something drastic happens.
Right.
But I'll have it wrote out. Like yesterday we played. I had it wrote out by I think 8:30.
Okay.
I had both of my ideas and whatever we picked, what we pick. But yeah, I get to the field right on time, a little bit early with the girls, and I just get going.
What does now a game day girls are starting to show up to the field? What's the game day warm-ups look like, the pregame?
Yeah,
are we still doing around the horn and everything?
We're kind of doing around the horn a little bit. We changed a little bit. We hit for about 20 minutes. My pitcher and catcher hits first. Looks a little bit different now because we have a full hitting facility that we have.
Right.
We got 3 cages out there. They'll go hit, come back. Pitchers and catchers warm up. We do some football drills. We do every days. That stuff didn't change. We'll do infield, outfield, and then we do full field.
So really nothing has changed.
Really, it's not too much. Yeah.
Have you seen other warm-ups and thought like where do you get your coaching ideas from? For drills or warm-ups, do you just stick with what you know, or how do you find new ideas of how to help the girls get better?
Right. There's so many drills out there, but at the end of the day, the basics are the basics.
Right.
And repetition is key. So it might be crazy, but we do the same thing. Our practice, the same 30 minutes, the first 30 minutes is the same every single day. It never.
Consistency is key.
It never changes unless something drastic has changes. But we do 2 laps. We warm up. We stretch. We warm up. We do ladders. We do every days. We throw. We do 4 corners and football drills. Every single it is,
and it's getting results.
Yes, right. Yeah, the girls buy into it somehow. So
yeah. Do you guys still do the Indian drills?
We do not do that too much. Yeah.
Those were always the worst.
Still
I
a
feel.
crazy 8 every now and
Yeah.
then. Yeah, they
Yep.
I haven't made them do it this season actually, so they've been doing pretty good.
All right. I
Yeah.
remember that being like the one thing we were like, oh, this is a constant, and
Yep.
no one enjoyed it, and we just
Nobody enjoyed it.
complained
Yep.
through it all.
Mhm.
But it makes you better. It makes you better.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I think that's about all I had to talk about,
Yeah.
unless you have anything you want to bring up.
No.
I know I need
Huh.
to get out to some games. I
Yeah.
know I'll be at a lot of baseball games for
Yeah.
North this season.
Right.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we're not too far away.
I
Now that
know.
we play at home.
What did I know? Okay, so
We're
what made
right
the
across
change?
the way. Yeah.
What made the change for you guys?
So Blue Valley had some bond, I think. Yeah. I
right.
don't know the logistics of it. I try to stay out of that, but I was told at some point we'd play our varsity home games at home. And I think I looked at them like they had lost their minds because I didn't think I would ever not share a stadium with Northwest.
Right.
And never seeing purple again has been the best.
Did they still have the same coach?
Same coach. Yeah.
She is an icon.
She
I would
she has
see
been
her.
there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw her, I'd be
Yeah.
stressed out and worried because you know she's gonna bring it. You know,
Yep.
she
And
is
we
just
still
an
do our
intense
pink
coach.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still do our pink game with them.
Love that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I will let you get back to work now that I've stolen
Yeah.
a good chunk of your day.
That's okay. I love it. It
But-
was great to catch up.
Good. Well, last thing I do need from you is for my bingo board. It's something we do with our podcast here. Last season of the podcast, we're on our second season now.
Mhm.
I got to choose everything I wanted on the bingo board,
Okay.
and we just ultimately failed.
Okay.
It was anything basically I wanted to happen in Kansas City sports. I think I had like a Chiefs 3-peat on there,
Yeah.
KU to win, and things that weren't
Right.
going to happen. But this season, I wanted to do each guest on the show gets to fill out one box that is like their box, something they care about.
Yeah.
Do you have something that's kind of your like goal for, obviously, like it doesn't have to be BVN softball, but that you want to happen for this season for you guys?
Absolutely. I am manifesting that we are hosting a regional, our first ever regional at Blue Valley North.
All right.
So,
well,
yeah,
if
top
you do,
4
I'll be
teams.
there.
Yeah, top 4 teams get it. So that's
I love
what
that.
I'm manifesting it.
Well, let's see it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's put it on the bingo card.
I'll do it. Stevie, thanks for coming in today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Everyone out there, make sure you follow Stevie Ray Gibson on Instagram, and then also, of course, the Blue Valley North Twitter for softball and all of the athletics. I follow still most of them.
Absolutely.
And the content's good. So get out there, support your local softball, and per usual, this episode is brought to you by 810 Sports Radio. 810 Sports Radio, bringing you the next generation of athletes, coaches, broadcasters, all the things. You hear the spiel every week. So always a big shout out to them for giving me the opportunity to get to catch up with some old friends, make some new ones, and get those stories out there. We will talk to you guys later. As always, make sure you check out our social media links as well. 810 Sports Radio everywhere, and then the Next Gen Podcast on Instagram. So we'll see y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in.